Peace, 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 and black power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Allah. And we got the man, the myth, the legend, from the legendary group who ushered in a particular way of life that many of us was living and brought it true to form, from a thought form to manifestation.
Mm.
We have a vanguard of this culture that people have clinged to from around the world called hip hop, who's always been an unapologetic voice and a facilitator in the shaping of the mind of the masses of our youth, indiscriminate to location, indiscriminate to land or language. My honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others, and welcome to Do the Knowledge Radio, the God, Lord Jamar Allah. Peace.
Peace to the God. I must say that was a great that was a great welcome right there, God. Thank you. that was very splendid. Thank you, God.
I've been waiting for 5 years, God. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes. Well, we here, God. We here.
Yo, the story. Um, I think it was like December 2015. I just got on Twitter. Like the show was in its infancy stage. We had like a couple hundred, maybe 100 shows. We got like 1,160 shows to date.
Wow.
But we just in the infancy stage, and I'm not social media savvy. So I just hit Twitter. I was like, I guess I gotta have a Twitter, you know. So I got on Twitter and I followed you on Twitter. You was the first person I followed on Twitter, and then you followed me back. So I was gassed, like, oh shit, Lord Jamar, first person. You understand? So I was reaching out to you, and the cat had got on the post talking about Allah is a pagan moon deity and all this old nut ass shit. And I was like, thank you for your perspective. And you reposted that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh shit, this shit is crazy. So I'm like, so
Okay.
this was like, kind of the beginning of the process. You see what I'm saying? And then, I hit you, for the interview. Back then he was like, all right, let's set it up. I think you might have thought you did an interview with me because I saw you with some other people. You see what I'm saying? Like you did a sit down with them, and I was like, okay, he might have thought like this is the same shit because the conscious community. So if you talk to one person, you might as well talk to everybody. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that was pretty, interesting. I think that's kind of where it got lost, but we here now, 5 years later, on a
Okay.
special day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
20 years since Let's Get Free dropped. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
There
So
it
I
is.
think
Let's
that's
get
the first
free,
place I
baby.
want to go with you in regards to that story. We wouldn't
Right.
know who Dead Prez was if it wasn't for you. So how did that thing kind of go about for you?
Well, at the time, I was living in Brooklyn. At the what's become the famous 560 State Street, and
Mm.
every year they would have a. Wait, hang on a second. Okay, I'm doing an interview right now. 1 second, guy.
All good. All good. So y'all about to get that story. You understand? Like Let's Get Free came out on this day in 2000. You understand? So about to get into that right now.
1 second,
Mm.
guy.
All good. All good. Make sure y'all support Lord Jamar, Rod Digger, and Godfrey with the United Mean GodCast. Let me put that up real quick so y'all can check that out in the interim. So y'all see everything. We get into some of that. www.unitedmean.to support I just X, you understand? So your brother gonna have a hoodie on. Yeah. Had this mediums out here,
All right, all right. I'm back.
All right.
There we go. You know what I mean? Even though that's the old logo right there. That's our old season 1 logo. Um, okay, so every year they would have on Atlantic Avenue, they would have the Atlantic Annex. They still have it to this day. And that was basically like right outside my window. Like my window faced Atlantic Avenue. So we'd go out there every year, whatever. And this particular year, I'm out there. I think Fat Joe just got finished performing or something like that. And these two brothers just walk up on me, and they're just like, you know, you can just see the hunger in their eyes. Like as soon as you know what I mean? They was like, yo, you know, we a group, and we think that you would fuck with us, and you know, I'm telling you, like we nice, and just give us a fucking chance, type of shit, you know. And so I think it was one of those things where it was like, all right, so spit something for me right now, right? Because there was like a hip hop beat going on in the background. Fat Joe just got finished performing. Right as they're about to rhyme, the beat changes into some reggae shit. You know what I mean? And it was like, fuck. You know, it was just not an opportune moment for them, you know? And I just remember like, just there was something in Stickman's eyes that was like, yo, bro, if you just, you know what I mean? If you just trust us, like I'm telling you, you know what I mean? So I don't know what it was, but I was like, yo, because they didn't rhyme in that moment, I don't think. Or they tried to do something, but it didn't, they forced it or whatever. But I still exchanged numbers with them or some shit like that. So I hit them up one day because I had, you know, I was actually actively looking for talent when I moved to Brooklyn. So I said, let me hit these dudes up. So I hit them up. They start playing shit over the phone for me. And I'm like, okay, I could hear now. These niggas, they do got some shit. Like their songs was mad long. You know, well, it wasn't structured or nothing like that. But, you know, the hooks was dope. And the lines, they had some ill lines. And the beats was dark. And I was like, okay. I'm going to invite them to the crib. You know what I mean? They came to the crib. You know, they already had their thing together. Dead Prez, they knew who they was already. You know what I mean? And what they was about.
Right.
And yeah, I saw. Wait 1 second again. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that they you know, they had some shit. I was like, yo, we could build from here. And they was on some revolutionary, you know, Black Panther type consciousness. You know, they wasn't on no knowledge of self 5%. But I was like, that's all right. This is, you know, this is still consciousness. It don't have to be exactly what I'm about. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling what they're talking about right here, and I want to. This needs to come into the world. So we just started working every day, literally every day for like a year. You know, recording, finding these dude showcases and stuff to do. You know, all that type of stuff. And almost a year to the day that I met these dudes, I ended up signing them to Loud Records. You know, which was probably one of the hottest labels at
The
that moment.
epicenter. Hell
You
yeah.
know, Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, Big Pun,
Right.
Dot X, all of that at that time. Like Exhibit, it was crazy at that moment. So to be a part of all of that and to be, you know, chosen and seen for, you know, I knew what I had. You know what I mean? And so other people seen it too and was ready to put their money behind it. And that led to the classic album, Let's Get Free. 1 second. All right. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
how that started, basically, And we had a lot of cast of players,
Right.
that were involved while we were making the album. You know what I mean? People's Army and all of that.
Yeah.
You said brother Tahir.
Yeah. My brother.
Right.
G. Yeah.
Tahir is someone that I met through Dead Prez. He from Florida and all of that. And
Yeah.
he was a rapper and a producer, and he was there when they was coming to the crib. Tahir was there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You also brought up someone like Maintain. Now Maintain and them, my Power Rule brothers from the Pelon, Allerton Avenue. Those was my peoples. Like I introduced them to Dead Prez. You know what I mean? Like we've been rocking with them since like I forget what Brand Nubian album it was, but like we just hooked up a while ago when we've been rocking hard ever since. You know what I mean? So when that Dead Prez, when I was shaping it and molding it, and I needed certain ears to see if it really was effective, these were some of the ears that, were the first ones to be exposed to it, and they automatically came in to the fold as like even deeper family. And you know what I mean? Right. Really believed in this shit. And you know what I mean? So we went from 3 of us with the I Ching on our neck. It's over here somewhere. To, now there's probably like over 100 of us, you know what I mean? And that all symbolized the belief in, what we were doing at that time.
Yeah, Divine RBG and all of them. That's like fam. You know what I mean? Yeah.
People
So I think that was, yeah, definitely. That was crazy. So for you, if we could back up a little bit, it's like 30 years strong now. You see what I'm saying? Like, what does this landscape feel like now in regards to how many changes you've seen this art form that you have protected go through, and how does that kind of affect you in regards to being a frontliner and a forerunner for a lot of things that we see today?
I mean, when I look at the landscape, it looks. I was just listening to a song today, and it was one of these, little Uzi Vert type of joints or whatever. And I was just like, wow, like this hip hop shit has like, it's almost moved so far from where it originally started. Like even the way these dudes, they call this rapping what they're doing, but it's not really resembling what we know as MC and rapping and all of that type of shit.
Right.
And see, let me just say that I'm a hip hop aficionado. Like I've done all the hip hop shit that a motherfucker could do. Like I used to do graffiti, I break dance. You know what I mean? I started as a DJ, a MC, and I fucking have knowledge. All the fucking pillars of hip hop I have partaken in. You understand what I'm saying? I was at the Latin Quarters in the Union Square and fucking, standing on line for 2 hours in the cold because I ain't know nobody, but I'm there every week, like because I really love this hip hop shit. So when I speak on it from a place of expertise. You know what I mean? Like if a professor has more than 30 years as a professor, you're gonna be like, wow, that motherfucker is very knowledgeable in what he's been doing that for more than 30 years. But when you hear someone like me and 30 years, that's just as a professional. I've been doing this
Right.
shit since I was like 13 years old. You know what I mean? So really, we talking 40 something years.
Right.
So when I tell you what hip hop is and what it's supposed to be, I'm coming from a place of actual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not trying to hate, on motherfuckers and all that. I'm just telling you that I know what it's supposed to be, and I'm gonna make knowledge born. Okay.
Right.
Um.
And
Uh. Because I feel like some of these motherfuckers don't know, and they need to know, and they need to hear it from an authentic voice. And I feel like people
right.
like myself, they try to silence our voices. They try to make us the voiceless. And so since I have a platform and people seem to resonate with what I say, I'm going to keep saying it. Period.
Right. And that's one of the true testaments. You see what I'm saying? Of standing on your square. I remember watching the unsung and a lot of your interviews over the years, and you spoke about knowledge of self and how it shaped you. You know what I mean? And for lack of better words, you could have been drawn up in the fine mist in which the neck of alcoholic tech. You see what I'm saying? Uh, if you didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like you explain the experiences of going in certain places and things like that, and how that, could
But the
have caught the
knowledge of
next
self
man.
saved me from being a savage in the pursuit of happiness. Knowledge of self
Mm.
gave me um the power, okay, and the will to know that I'm the master, that nothing can master me, um, and that there's nothing higher than God, you know?
Right.
So even though I wanted to be a rapper and all that, I never felt like that was higher than God. You see, than being
Right.
God. I'm already the highest thing I can be, you know.
Right.
I came up in the 80s and all of that. There was a lot of drugs, a lot of my friends and all of that. Some of them fell victim to the crack era and all of that. You know what I mean? Live, we didn't know it first. Live niggas and all that. We used to smoke rulers and all that type of shit and thought it was cool. And you know what I mean? But what stopped me from ever even thinking about like being ahead of some shit was knowledge of self. Like it was like, nah, you can't have nothing master. You can do anything, is what I was told, but you just can't let it master you. Okay? So, you know, do what you want to do, God, but don't let it master you. You know? So that's how we used to approach it, you know. Um so that's why I never fell victim to, you know, drugs or just a lot of this. You know what I mean?
Into
Even
that's
even
out there.
even falling victim to the uh to the trap of being ready to kill my brother for money and shit like that. You
Mm.
see, because at one point, you know, I was selling my little crack and all that type of shit in my city, right? But then I'm
Right.
doing the chess move. I'm doing the math. I said, all right, in order to like really be the man in my city, like I need to take over the whole fucking city.
Right.
And in order to do that, some niggas that I grew up with are gonna have to die.
Mm.
And I'm not willing to do that. Because I'm not a savage like that. You know what I mean? I'm not a
Right.
savage like that. But if I was, if I didn't have knowledge like that, maybe that would have been an option for me. Maybe I would have been, you know, put together a crew, you know what I mean? And start going from
Right.
project to project. Because it's only like 4 projects we really had to take care of in the Rochelle, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that, you know, these are kids that we know you've known since like kindergarten and shit.
Right.
And you know, because at that point everybody was selling crap. So you got to take niggas, you know.
Right.
But I never could fall into that because I had knowledge and I knew that we were, you know, we were special. We're more than that. That we're valuable. You know what I mean? and you can't
Right.
be out here killing your brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? For some bullshit. So yeah, it saved me from a lot of shit.
So as far as hip hop is concerned, with Brand Nubian's inception, this is like the Kane era. This is like the Rakim Allah era. You know what I mean? So your your weight class, your peer group is crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So, um, did you ever feel like some kind of missionary type? You know what I mean with the approach you're bringing out yourself to the mainstream.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Like that was the goal. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had been doing it already. Like ever since I had got knowledge, I immediately started infusing it with hip hop
mm,
because I the Supreme Team, peace to the gods, see divine, just Allah.
right.
Um, they had secretly taught me through listening to their radio show. They
Mm,
used to be singing the Enlightener. I didn't know what that
right.
was, but it was sound. They did it to a hip hop beat. It sounded fly, so I memorized the words, but I didn't know what they were talking about.
Mm,
And then when I got knowledge, I'm like, wait a minute, this is what Supreme Team was talking about.
mm,
And then the light went. I said, oh, they sneak taught me. I said, they sneak taught me. I said, I want to do that. I want to teach people without them not necessarily knowing they being taught, or without it feeling like they being taught. So I just used to feel like it was live to like incorporate little 5% lingo in the rhymes. You know what I mean? Like when I was 17, I had one line. I used to be like, I'm doper than the P that's making you nod, and I'm too wise to be the age of only knowledge, God. Like, slipping little shit like that in there was like
right.
super, that was super heavy at the time. Like,
Right.
um, to the point where I ain't gonna lie, some people around my way, right, when Rakim first came out,
Mm,
they thought that was me at first.
mm,
Even though my name was not Rakim or nothing like that, but I don't know, our vocal tones was similar, and I was known for saying like little 5%, 5% shit in my rhyme. So when that came out, they was like, "Yo, is that you?" I was like, "Man, I wish that was me." Like I wish that was me when that my melody and all of that came out, and
yeah.
Eric B for president. It was
Yeah.
Eric B for president. That was the one where, yo, was that you, God? Nah, man, I wish that was me. But that shit, that's gonna be a hit right there, and I knew it. And sure enough. Um, so yeah, but then we had the advantage of, all right, a couple of gods have come out now. We've seen the way we hit it, but they still left room for this 5% thing to go even a little deeper, because
Mm,
they kind of was doing what I was doing originally, which was just a little lingo here and there, and you know what I mean? King
right.
Asiatic. Nobody's equal.
Right.
You know what I mean? But nobody was really like putting the lessons in there. You know what I mean? And we thought that was
Right.
a little controversial at the time. We wasn't sure how some of the gods might receive that. You know what I mean? But I felt like, you know, we're not fully giving away shit, and you still would have to have somebody to sit you down and really explain this to you. But I felt like putting the lessons in there was going to make it just even deeper and more attractive, to the gods and to the 85s. And we was right.
Mm. So now, almost 2 decades later, you bless us with I argue with any motherfucker about this album that came out in June of 2006. You see what I'm saying? Um, my brother, Gensuddin, is doing the production. You see what I'm saying? For a couple of joints like my head is blown. You know what I mean? Like you really really put on for the culture. So what was that process like for you coming out with the banner? Boom. You understand what I'm saying? Like boom. This right here. So what was your thought process kind of behind that right there?
Well, I had never put out a solo album. Sadat had
Right.
had a few albums. Puba had a few solo albums. I never put out a solo album. Um, when I at the time when I was like trying to work on some solo shit and thinking, all right, I'm gonna get ready to put out some shit. That's when I met Dead Prez, and
Mm,
I felt more inspired by their shit than my own shit. You know what I mean?
right.
And I was like, nah, this is the shit I need to focus on. Fuck this. You could do some solo shit whenever. Like, you know what I mean? We still had Brand Nubian albums. We ended up getting back together while I was working with Dead Prez. So we ended up putting Foundation and all that type of shit out anyway. Um, but I was like, and as a Virgo, that's some real perfectionist shit, and I'm always real hard on myself, and people's like, oh, drop some shit. Those shits is dope, and I don't just like to rhyme about just for rhyming's sake. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I'm trying to make songs or what I think people might want to hear, and then I'm talking to my man Chuck Wilson, who owns Baby Grand. And he's like, yo, are you still a 5%er? And I said, yeah, of course. And he's like, and
Like
he's like,
like you just quit. Like nah, I'm
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I
He
punched out. I'm good.
he's like, shit, you should make an album about that. You know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what? You right. That is what I should. I said because no one's ever done it like that. You know what I mean? No one's ever really made an album strictly for the gods, like you know what I mean, and the herbs. And I
Right.
was like, and then that's when just all the ideas started coming, and you know what I mean, and the craft thing started coming together, and then again, it was his idea. He was like, "Yo, you should put a book inside this shit." Like, and I was like, "Yo, you could do that." He was like, "Yeah," like you know what I mean, and he said we could make a small little book, put it in the CD shit. All right, bet, let's do it. And that's how all of that manifested. And I gotta say, it's one. I'm very proud of it. I feel like it's a classic album. It's something that you know if you never heard of the 5% Nation in your life, you could play that right there and get some understanding. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could play that and read the book, and by the end of that, you definitely got a level of understanding that you didn't have prior to that. And if you did have knowledge already, by the end of it, you feel more proud and more, um,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
somebody's waving my flag like properly. You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to do, and I didn't even care about the 85s. Literally, like I just wanted this. I just wanted the gods and earths to love it. That was it. You know what I mean? That was my intention. Anything outside of that was cool, but that's who I made that for.
Right. Yeah. From the beginning of the joint, we was in the war zone, Lord. You understand? I was in the military. We was in the war zone. You know what I'm saying? Banging this album right here. So like, you and a couple of other, you know, MCs kept us in our right frame of mind with all of this other shit that was going on every day. So we was banging the joints in the combat zone, Iraq, Afghanistan. You see what I'm saying? And
Mm,
so, you know, I had them cats watching Short Eyes. You see what I'm saying? Like, so when you hear this shit at the beginning, you like
right,
acknowledge that God. I'm
right.
like this is the movie. They watching Short Eyes, bugging. You know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
hold up,
Like,
hold. How did that Islam bang over there in Iraq, Afghanistan?
ooh, that shit was crazy.
How did that sound listening to that song, particularly over there? I
Yeah,
mean, the arm,
yeah.
leg, arm, head. Hear the
Yeah,
job
the
part.
moms on the
Ooh,
mentally dead.
with that Islamic type
Islamic
of beat.
people
I know they was like,
properly
what
said.
the fuck?
Yeah. How you be, God? I be all wise and civilized.
Yeah. Deliver truth while the 10% deliver
Live
lies.
lies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, look, like the offering was extremely true. And I didn't know that you pulled the Master Killer and was the last one in the group to come with the solo album. You see what I'm saying? So that put you in another space for me. You know what I mean? Because Master Killer is my favorite out of the clan. You see what I'm saying? From the beginning, from his first joint that I ever heard.
Right.
Homicide's illegal when death is the penalty. You understand? From that, I was like, so somebody who their breath is man. You see what I'm saying? That like their breath, and in that vein, I heard you talk about it. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to shout out my brother Ginsu for the production. I would like to know that
Absolutely.
story, and you know how you pulled that Papa Wu on our ass. You know what I'm saying? Like like that story right there. At the same time, same vein. If we could get that.
Yeah, well, Papa Wu, he was somebody that, I had always admired just hearing him on Wu-Tang joints. It's like if you
Right.
if you've been in this nation for a long time, there's many Papa Wus like that talk just like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it was like I knew Papa Wu before I knew Papa Wu. You see what I'm saying? Like I was like, that's that classic old school type of God right there. And I was like, I would love to have that energy on my album as well, if at all possible. So we hit up Papa Wu, and he was more than gracious to come through and build on a couple of the joints for the God.
Right. Yeah, that was crazy.
As well as RZA and
Mm,
Raekwon
right.
and Jizz's son, Young Just. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, Young Dirty was on there too.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's crazy. That is crazy. So, how did you get to work? How did that connection work with my brother Ginsu Ding? How did that work out?
How did I hook up with Ginsu Dean? I, hmm. I don't know. We might have met on the internet or some shit like that. I don't know. I forget. But all I know is when I heard his shit, I was like, "Oh, you got that shit, and you working on the SB 1200 too? Like, you taking it back?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to, you know what I mean." Damn, he probably got to tell you how we met because I forget exactly. I know I've known Dean though for years now. Um, I think it was somehow online we might have met. He might have sent me some beats or some shit, and you know, yeah. And so
So,
when it was
what was
time
that?
to
So,
do my shit, I was like, "Yo, send me some shit," like, because
you
I
put
produce
everything
too.
together to tell his story. That was the 5% album. Like, what was that? You know what I'm saying? What was that like for you? That creative kind of process in regards to selecting this, and then the placement, because the placement is flawless. It's a story from track to track. You see what I'm saying? So just doing the knowledge to that. You see what I'm saying? Everything, like nothing was wasted. Had
Again, it's
had a
like,
plus lesson in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Had a plus degree in there. I was like, yeah, that's crazy.
see, since this was my first solo album, I wanted to I'm a quality over quantity type of dude. So I just wanted people to see like this dude really knows how to put together an album. Like, you know what I mean? Like this dude really knows what he's doing as far as this hip hop shit. Like a lot of people don't even, you know what I mean? Know the full extent of my role, like in Brand Nubian and all that type of shit. But it's more than just rhyming. Um, so I just wanted to show that, I could put together a very high quality piece of work, you know, that was in the vein of the people that I look up to, like the Public Enemies and and the NWAs. And I'm just talking as far as album wise is concerned, as how they put shit together in such a quality way. That's why my shit had to have skits and
Right.
and just create a world. You know what I mean? Because the best albums bring you into their world. You know what I mean? And now you got to live in that world for however long that album is, and hopefully when you leave that world, you were satisfied.
Right. So, real quick, if we could, this this visionary motivational tool that we tune into weekly called the GodCast. What was that inception like? And what are some of your goals and your vision that you can share with us in regards to you know this this Godcast that you have presented for us?
Well, Godcast started because when I was doing a lot of these Vlad TV interviews, I would look in the comments and a lot of people would be like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I would be saying that a lot while I'm talking, and I was like, oh, I said, that's the thing right there. I said, I should lean into that,
Right.
um, and then combined with, a lot of people was like, yo, you need your own show. You should get your own show. Start your own show, and they just kept badgering me about it. So I was just like, you know what? All right, I'm going to start my own show, you know what I mean? And then my man Cooks, who is a new artist that I'm working with that's getting ready to come in a minute. And
Shout out to
he is that fire. Lord
that pen
Jamar,
is fucking disastrous.
Lord Jamar
Yeah.
approved. Y'all have no idea what's getting ready to come, but I'm telling you, this is gonna be the illest shit I ever probably been involved with. But anyway, he was like, "Fuck a podcast. Your shit is the Godcast." I was like, "Ooh, yeah." I said, "Yeah, we're gonna rock with that." And so I was just like, "You know what I mean, Godcast." And I just started it. And as I was doing it, I was like, it would be dope if I had like a female with me, to balance my shit out a little bit,
Right.
take some of the edge off. I said, and in my mind, the perfect one was Rod Digger. I was like, yo, she just seems like we on the same kind of wavelength in a way. And,
Right.
I don't think she's too bougie to I feel like she wouldn't do it. And, I think she's strong enough to deal with a strong personality like mine. And, so I hit her up just to come on the show. And then it was like, but knowing in my mind, like, I really want her to be on, do this with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when she did that, the numbers were so crazy that she was like, hey, maybe this is something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we worked it out, and she came aboard. As time went on, I did a couple of joints with Godfrey on Vlad, and
Yeah.
those did a lot of good numbers and all that. And so now I'm like, man, what if we add him to the mix? That'll be almost like one of those morning show type of,
Right.
you know what I mean, trios. And we could really have a serious product if we do that. Add a comedian to the mix who's conscious and about this, hip hop shit. And so now, and then Godfrey came aboard, you know.
Yeah,
So
same
this nigga
same
left.
type of work ethic, all of it, the correct balance. You see what I'm saying? Like that presentation, that pack, that's a fucking dream team right there.
Right.
That's
And
what
then
that's
my part of my goal was to try to, up the production value and all of that. You know what I mean? That's why originally I was doing multi cameras and all that, 3-camera
right.
shoots and all of this type of shit. And, I had labs and all of this type of shit, and again, my goal with that is what I said earlier, is just to be that voice, to give perspectives that are not always given out here in the mainstream media. You know what I mean? To give those
Right.
alternate perspectives from, people like myself that y'all need to hear my perspective. Y'all need to hear this alternate perspective instead of
Right.
always hearing the company line or whatever, the politically correct shit. You need to hear
Right.
the real shit. And I'm here to supply that.
You definitely love it. You know, unapologetic is like an understatement for me in regards to your stance and your approach. You see what I'm saying? Like, you ain't afraid to say some shit is whack. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like this, that's the era that we came from. So, you know, it is what it is for you to be able to speak this truth in a way um, that is impactful and powerful. So, and those who it righteously, they receive it righteously, and those other ones, hey, fuck them. You understand? So,
That's what I'm saying. As long as it's truth, as long as it's not given in the spirit of, negativity and hatred,
right.
I'm good. I stand behind the truth. That is my shield. As long as
Mm,
whatever I say, trust me, I'm not here to lie. I'm not here to, you know what I mean? Give you no bullshit. And I can show and prove the things I say. You know what I mean? Um, so all I can say is I always stand behind the truth, and I follow the trail of truth wherever it leads me. Okay?
mm.
Even if sometimes it leads you to unexpected places. Truth is the truth, and
Right.
it can't be disputed.
So something a little interesting that I found in regards to some of the things that you were speaking about, and there's a lot of conversation back and forth in regards to uh, the flat Earth versus the round Earth situation. And you provided an interesting perspective. I was just curious to see, your thought process on, how you make that knowledgeable.
Listen, God, you know, I first got introduced to that like anybody else, and I laughed it off. I said, "This is fucking ridiculous. Are you fucking kidding me?" You know?
Mm,
And I got into it because I was striving to debunk it. Okay?
mm,
I was striving to debunk it and say this is some fucking bullshit. Um, but upon true research, because most of us don't even know what we think we know about this subject. They
mm.
taught you this shit in third, fourth grade for a reason. So you think
Right.
that it's all the case is closed. We've tucked that away somewhere, and that's just what it is. Like why even revisit that? You know.
Right.
Um, but it turns out that, like I said, I could show and prove all things that I say. You know, no
Right.
one could do an experiment where they can make water stick to the outside of a ball as it spins. Yet that's what we say we're living on right now. Although we feel
Mm,
nothing, we see nothing to give us any indication of that. We are basically taking on face value what's being told to us. So, we as in the nation of gods and earths, we have a degree, and at one point it says, "Can a devil fool a Muslim?" And we say, "No,
right.
not nowadays." But
Nowadays.
but if we're gonna go ahead and say that planet that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 and in a third miles an
Seven
hour
and
around the sun. If we're gonna say all of that, and that the sun is the foundation of the universe, which it's not, um, we're gonna have to show and prove those things, and not just take it on face value. I know that they were in the lessons and all of that.
mm,
And this is very controversial to me to be said. I got idiots out there saying my Earth ain't flat. She not round either. So I don't know what you're talking. I know she lays flat on her back, and she looks,
right.
when she does that and she's pregnant, she looks more similar to a flat domed Earth than a goddamn ball. I'll tell you that. Um, and also, if we could do experiments where people are walking upside down, you know, Because if you believe in a globe, then you believe people are walking upside down in Australia right now. You believe that when it rains up because of gravity. These are all things that basically the devil has given us. We have taken it on face value. It's made its way into our lessons, and they need to be removed. But see, now here's the thing. We as gods and earths, we have made part of our world view around this. So it's very difficult to move away from this. When you've assigned that the black man is the sun because the sun is the foundation and everything revolves around him, and the woman and the moon, and first of all, the moon is not reflecting the light of the sun. That's some more bullshit right there that we took on face value. It is its own luminary source, and anybody, I'm willing for anybody to show and prove that I'm wrong. You can't. Now here's so the fact that you're now finding out that the earth is what's being revolved around, that fucks up your worldview. What does that say? Does that mean that everything revolves around your woman? Maybe we shouldn't have applied those things like that. Maybe we shouldn't have said that those things were necessarily symbolic to them because it was based on wrong information. Now what do? And that's why it's hard for people, especially for us in this nation, to even entertain this thought, because it shakes your whole worldview. But again, I have to go where truth takes me. And I'm not going to now continue to spout that just so I could stay cool with some of y'all. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like if y'all is mad, if you don't know that I love this nation after all of the years that I put into this shit, and out of all the work that I've shown, not just in this music, like I brought the gods to HBO. Okay, I was Supreme Allah on Oz. Like, let's not get it twisted. And I brought that there. He didn't know nothing about the gods until I introduced that to him. You know what I mean? So I was trying to always just bring us to the forefront and make us more, bring us back to our prominence and all that. So if you think I don't love this nation just as much as the next man, and think that, well, if you're not going to teach it how Allah taught it, then don't. Listen, I thought Allah wanted us to move forward and be better than him. You know what I mean? Like we can't be stagnant. We can't, you're supposed to renew your Quran at some point. Okay?
Right.
And it's time for that. It's time for that. So I'm telling you, if the earth is spinning at 1,037 and a third miles per hour, where are the 1,000 mile per hour winds? How come they're not all going in the same direction? Like, answer me these questions. If we're exposed to an endless vacuum of space and there's no barrier, how do we have an atmosphere?
Right.
Because it would suck everything out the atmosphere if in the endless vacuum of space. So if there is no dome, like the people who, talk about flat Earth suggest, because I don't know, I haven't seen the dome. That's a suggestion, but this is also something that our ancestors, our ancestors saw it this way too. Everybody else seen it this way. It was only when the white man, about 500 years ago, Copernicus, they the ones that came with this round Earth, heliocentric model and all this type of shit. That's new thinking. That's not, and these are the same people that don't know how the pyramids was built and all of this type of shit, but they think they know better than us. When we told you that this shit was flat and, and that it has a dome over it and that the sky revolves around us, we're not revolving around anything. And if that's not the case, then how does the North Star stay as the fixed star and all the other stars rotate around? If we were moving through space rotating, there would be something called parallax, where the stars would be moving all kind of different directions. But we don't see that. Do you feel like you're moving, God?
Nope.
No. So they want you to suspend your senses. Tell the truth. Does the sun look like it's 93 million miles away? Or does it look like it's right here in the atmosphere with us, just like the moon? Tell the truth. They look about the same size, about the same distance, because they are. And you can easily trace the sun's rays back to its source, and it is not 93 million miles away. It is only about 30,000 miles away. And you trace that back with something called crepuscular rays. Look it up. The same way you would trace a bullet through its trajectory and what it ballistics is the same way you see how the sun's rays comes down in that triangular pattern. You can easily trace it back to its source. It's not 93 million miles away. So, I challenge any God, anybody, not just a God, anybody, to show and prove the globe model. Show me models of spinning balls where you make the water stick to the outside. Show me that. Show me how people can walk upside down. Show me that. Show me a live stream of the earth spinning with the buildings upside down and the shit is spinning math. Show me that. We'll never see it, God. And just because you look up and see two round things in the sky, that doesn't mean what you're on is round. And here's another thing. We're not saying it's not round. We're just saying it's not a ball. It's spherical, but think of a spherical in like a plate, not like a ball. Like, a lot of things have been taken on face value. Let me ask you something. 196,940,000 square miles. Who's the first one that came up with that equation, God? Do you know his name?
No.
I know his name. His name is Aristarchus. He was a Greek that went to Egypt to teach. So this is obviously, after Egypt had fell off a little something. And he's the one that he was one of the first ones to propose that the earth was round, and he came up with that 196,940,000 square miles. Whatever, that's his calculation. How did that get into our lessons? Because that was the science of the day. That was the science that Farad learned wherever he learned mathematics, science, English, and whatever he learned back in the 30s. So this is where you get the science of how big the earth is and how far. That's all regular schmegular school. That's not God knowledge. See, we took that on face value. Some of us believed that Farad was God in the flesh. And so everything that he said must have been true. But it wasn't. He was wrong. And I'm saying it. He was wrong about those things. I'm not going to say he was wrong about everything, but he was wrong about those things. We all took certain things on face value, and now it's time to stop. And don't be mad because I'm the one that brought it to you. If you believe what you believe, show and prove. Prove, because that's all I've always been taught, that by the gods. Show and prove. We don't take nothing on face value, show and prove. Right. So you can't even take your lessons on face value. And that's what we did. We took certain things in the lessons on face value, and they're just not correct, God. I'm sorry. They're not correct. So actual facts, solar facts, we need to look at those again. We need to look at those again. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for some of y'all, but it is what it is. And I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. I already put the challenge on my show. Everybody's talking shit about me probably behind my back, but nobody came to me with the challenge. Nobody came to me with anything contrary. Because they're not even looking into it. They're just assuming that I'm bugging out. Although for many of you, I'm the one that even helped bring you to this nation. Let's keep it fucking real.
Keep it real.
But now I'm bugging. Now Lord Jamar is bugging. Like he was good on all that other shit, but now with this, he's bugging. Nah, you didn't do your research. You didn't do your due diligence. I did mine. And I came to the realization that I can't debunk this shit because it's undebunkable. And this is the same cosmology that our ancestors knew prior to this white man telling us something else. And it's funny because you got brothers saying that this is white man shit. Oh, this flat earth, you talking that white man shit. No, the white man shit is the ball earth. That's the white man shit. So, I mean, do you have anything right now that you would like to to give to combat what I'm saying right now, or are we just gonna leave this to the people in the comments or whatever and see what they have to say? But
Hey, they out here issuing challenges. You see what I'm saying? So, that was one of the questions, that were out there looming. So I wanted to see your perspective on it. You see what I'm saying? And knowledge, just look, listen, observe. Most of all, respect. You see what I'm saying? So I respect your perspective. You see what I'm saying? Like the brother when we first met. You see what I'm saying? Allah's the moon god and blah blah blah. I appreciate your perspective. You understand what I'm
right,
saying? Like I'm not about to get into a back and forth situation with a stranger. You see what I'm saying? And if I ain't gonna get into a back and forth with a stranger, why would I invite my brother here? You see what I'm saying? To go through that. I respect your perspective. You see what I'm saying? And cats got to do knowledge. That's our scientific foundation. You see what I'm saying? Go be investigative. Do the knowledge to the
right.
situation.
Take your emotions out of it
Right.
and do the knowledge. And once you
That's
do
it.
that, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then all I'm saying is I hope you're man enough to apologize.
Or
Whoever you were talking shit behind my back, because you won't say it to my face, but talking shit behind my back, the God, I'm ready to get into one more controversial thing before we go.
let's go, Lord. You got it.
Since we here,
Right.
I got into the at one point I had a build where I was talking about the math, and I said we need to relook at that of how we build on that too, because zero, the cipher is
Right.
what all things exist in, and the cipher is what all things go to.
Right.
Where does knowledge exist, God? I'm asking you, where does knowledge exist?
Break it down, Lord.
I'm asking you a question right now. Where does knowledge exist? Where are the different places that knowledge exists?
In the mind first.
In the mind. What
Right.
is the mind? Is the mind a cipher?
Yes.
How do you gain knowledge?
Physically through experience, but metaphysically through inheritance.
Okay, again, are these not ciphers? Is
Right.
experience a cipher? A bunch of small ciphers that we put together as one big cipher.
Right.
Inheritance. A cipher is a person, place, a thing. Inheritance is a cipher.
Right.
See, what we don't understand, see, the devil told us that zero is nothing. Really, zero is the whole.
Right.
Zero is the whole, and when you chop up zero, that's when you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on.
Right.
See, 1 and 3 is not identical. Like let's look at it. Let's be real. The number 1 and the number 3 is not the same thing. But a 0 and a 0 is the same thing. If you start at 0 and come back to 0, that's the true, when they say knowledge to born back to knowledge, but it's all within the cipher. Now, there's something called natural numbers, and there's something called whole numbers in mathematics, right? Natural numbers are just used for counting, and that's when you'll start from just 1, okay? But whole numbers, when you get to whole numbers in mathematics, whole numbers start with 0. That's why you'll see invoices that say 001, 002, 00. You understand what I'm saying? 0 is actually the start. Because there's less than 0. There's -1. So 0 is something. You see what I'm saying? Right. 0 is not nothing the way it's been. It's not a placeholder the way we've been taught. So again, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. 1, 2, 3, born's equality, which is inside of the cipher. Okay?
Right.
So all I'm saying is the cipher.
They came for you on that?
The cipher is not an add-on. The cipher is actually the whole.
People came for you for that right there? That was hard?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had 1 or 2. I had 1 or 2 hit me on Facebook and shit like that. Again, talk about if you're not going to teach it the way the father taught it, then leave it alone type of shit like that. Like,
how do you deal with calculus, these higher mathematical principles if the zero's on the end?
What's that?
How do you deal with calculus and these higher mathematical principles if the zero's on the end?
That's a good question, God. They don't know. Because again, they taking things on face value. I bet you they never even know that anything about natural numbers and whole numbers. They probably never even heard of that before. You see? Because they just taking shit on face. Well, when I went to school, they taught me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that must be how it is. But that's not correct. We supposed to be all wise and civilized. Proper education, Allah corrects error. We don't lean into the error and keep going with it just because of emotions. We correct error. And why would we say that if there wasn't room for error? Right. We're correcting errors. I found errors. Let's correct them and move on. That's all. I'm ready to leave it at that, God. I think we got. I think we did some good building here today, God. What do you think, God?
So, final thoughts, acknowledgement, shout out, social media. Are you still touring? Can people book you? You know what I mean? Are you still touring? Is the group still touring? Y'all got anything in the works?
I mean, we are, but this coronavirus is fucking shit up right now for people. You know what I mean? Me and Vlad was supposed to do something at Sony Hall on the 5th, and we're not sure if that's still going to happen because of all of this limiting, crowds and all this type of shit. So we got to see. But yes, you can hit us up at brandnubianbookings@gmail.com. I want to shout out my, GodCast family, Rod Digger, Godfrey, Rage, Fact Checker Rage, hit us up on YouTube at, GodCast. Hit me up on IG and all social media at Lord Jamar.
Right.
Yeah, shit, if you'd like to donate to the show, go to cash.me/$, patreon.com/, or support. Also, if you like the merch, we got the brand Nubian merch, the GodCast merch. Go to www.hoodg.com and get your merch on.
We need the book, and we need the series outside of the unsung. The unsung was peace, but I'd rather hear it in your language. You
Mm,
see what I'm saying? I would rather hear it in your language. You see?
okay.
Yeah. Because if we depended upon our enemies to tell our story, if Huey and them didn't write about their story, look at how we would view them the same way. Some of these African leaders have viewed Idi Amin and the like. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So
But listen what you just said. Like when you say we, we can't uh we can't depend on the enemy to tell our story, right? We can't rely on the enemy to tell our story, right? Do you think that our enemy is only lying about that story? You see what I'm saying?
no.
Like this goes back to what we talked about earlier. Like you're basing all your information, even this coronavirus shit. Like you're taking all this information from your enemy and you're taking it on face value as if he's gonna lie only about history and tell you the truth about everything else. This motherfucker's lying about everything. Like everything. Like some of the smallest shit he's lying about. And you just have to know that and not trust this motherfucker as far as you could throw him. And that's just what it is. So yes, don't trust him for history. Don't trust him for science. Because first of all, science is their new religion. They're getting
Right.
rid of religion and they want you to believe in science on
Mm.
face value and feel like they have a closer connection with what's going on, just like the priest had a closer connection with God. Well, these people must know better than me because they're the ones that study it.
Hmm.
And so let me just take what they say on face value. So do I really know what's going on with this coronavirus? How many people died? How many? I don't know nothing because my enemy's telling me, giving me the answers. You
Right.
see? So we got to be careful, not just in certain areas, though, because I feel like we don't trust him in the area of history to tell the black man's story, but then we trust him everywhere else. Oh no,
Hmm.
he's telling the truth about that, about gravity and all this other shit. Yeah, oh, he went to the moon and all that. Yeah, you trust him about that shit. But you don't trust, but that's over there. He's your enemy and he's a liar. Come on, man. When do we ever trust liars like that? Only suckers trust liars, especially somebody that's lied to you multiple times.
Right.
Okay? So cut it out, my people. And I love y'all.
Word. Appreciate your time, Lord. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we can get you to come back through. You know
Thank you,
what I
God.
mean?
We went an hour. You said 20 minutes, but we went an hour.
Hey, thankful.
I knew it wasn't gonna
Yeah,
be 20 minutes. It was all good.
I'm thankful, and our listening audience is thankful for the jewels and the gems that were presented here today. In that, you know what I mean, truth telling fashion that only the God could do. You see what I'm
Thank you,
saying?
God. Thank you, God. But yeah,
Right.
hit me up. I would love to build with anybody that's rational and ready to do the science or whatever. You know what I mean? Like do the knowledge for real, not just
Right.
some emotional shit.
Right.
And I'm
Some
confident that
how
we
you gonna
have.
stay laws out there? How you gonna say? How you
You
gonna
said
say?
what?
How you gonna say a laws that's out there? You see what I'm saying? How you gonna say that, God?
I'll show you
That's
how I say it. But
that's right.
yeah, just keep building. Don't take nothing on face value.
Right. So we out, fam.
All right, God.
Peace.
Peace.